Vasumati, Sati Chandanbala.
King Dadhivahan reigned over Champa city. His queen's name was Dharani. The king was religious, and was well loved by his subjects. He had one daughter, named Vasumati, who is well known as Sati Chandanbala. It seemed as if Vasumati had imbibed religious virtues from her previous life. During childhood, when friends quarreled with each other, Vasumati would calm them down by giving them instructions as per the teachings of the enlightened ones. As years went by, Vasumati not only grew up to be a very beautiful young woman, but she reigned supreme in spiritual growth as well. One day, King Shatanik of Kausambi city attacked Champa city. Defeated by this sudden attack, King Dadhivahan escaped in despair. One soldier captured Queen Dharani and her daughter Vasumati, and drove them away in a chariot. The soldier's intention became immoral towards Queen Mother Dharani. He stopped the chariot in the deathly silent jungle. When asked why he had stopped the chariot, he laughed out loudly, and asked Queen Dharani to become his queen. Sensing danger due to the corrupt intentions of the soldier, she sucked the poison from her ring, and killed herself in order to save her honor and chastity. Vasumati started lamenting on her mother's death, whilst the soldier was completely bewildered. Vasumati pleaded to the soldier to let her go. The soldier thought, if Vasumati also dies like her mother, then he would be left with nothing. With such thoughts, he brought Vasumati to Kausambi city. He made her stand in the middle of the marketplace to sell her off as a slave girl. Oh, how karma unfolds. Born a princess, and brought up with so much love and pampering, today Vasumati stands alone and helpless in the marketplace. Even in this state, she had not forgotten the teachings of the Lord. In spite of her relatively distressing condition, she is at peace within herself. These are the effects of my demerit karmas. Nobody is at fault. The soldier is just one of the evidences. Imbibing such noble thoughts, she stood there. Many people were attracted by her beauty, and came to bid for her, but they couldn't afford to pay the price that was demanded. Incidentally, merchant Dhanava happened to pass by. This cultured merchant's sight fell on this tender young girl standing on the marketplace days. He sensed that she must be from some upper-class family, but fated to be in such a place due to her demerit karmas. In order to save her from going into the hands of unscrupulous people, he paid the requested price, and bought Vasumati. Merchant Dhanava took Vasumati to his house. He explained to his wife, Mula, the reason for bringing home this young girl and handed her over saying, Mula, treat this girl affectionately like our daughter, since we don't have any children. God has fulfilled that wish for us. Vasumati bowed down at the feet of merchant Dhanava and Mula, and expressed her gratitude to them for giving her shelter. As days passed by, gradually Vasumati started handling all the housework. The fragrance of her virtues spread out to the neighborhood, and she won over their love and affection. Even the merchant's fondness for his daughter Vasumati increased. The merchant had a maid-servant, who did all the household chores. Observing the merchant's increasing affection towards Vasumati, she misguided Mula by saying, Ma'am, you are very naive. Slowly and steadily, Vasumati will take control over both the merchant and the house. One day, the merchant will drive you out of this house and you will be helpless. It's still not too late. Think about it. Mula didn't believe the maid, until one day, when the merchant came home from work, and Vasumati brought a jar of water to wash his feet. As she was kneeling down, some tresses of her long unbound hair were getting wet. In order to prevent this, the merchant held her hair in his hand. Incidentally, Mula came out from the kitchen at exactly that moment, and saw the scene. She immediately recollected what the maidservant had anticipated. Her heart sank. She feared that her husband would leave her forever. She thought that if the situation is not nipped in the bud, then the results would have grave effects on her life. She came up with a solution. She sacked the maid and gave all her work to Vasumati. Even after working hard all day long, she would not give Vasumati enough food to eat. As days passed, Vasumati became thin and weak. However, Vasumati was a firm believer in the science of karma, and she accepted the situation to be a consequence of her past karmas. Therefore, she tolerated everything with equanimity. She did not even harbor negative feelings towards Mula, and always remained grateful to her. She would remember the Jineshwar Bhagwan, Arihant Bhagwan, the enlightened one, who has overcome anger, pride, deceit and greed, and would pass the days without ever complaining. What a state of a one-time princess. Around then, merchant Dadhivahan had to go out of town for business. Taking advantage of the situation, in his absence, Mistress Mula called for the barber. She ordered Vasumati's beautiful long tresses to be shaved off. Hands and feet tied in heavy chains, Vasumati was locked up in a small dark room. Mistress Mula locked the house and left. This Vasumati is none other than Chandanbala. 3 days have passed since Chandanbala has been locked up in the room. She has not put a single grain of food, or a drop of water in her mouth. Continuously meditating on the Navkar mantra, Chandanbala is engrossed in the soul. She is experiencing absolute peace while contemplating on the Jineshwar Bhagwan, the enlightened one. On the other hand, Lord Mahavir has been wandering around Kaushambi city, going from alleyway to alleyway, home to home for nearly 6 months, in search of alms, but returns without accepting anything. The royal family and all the subjects are at a loss to understand why this ascetic is turning away without taking alms. Queen Mrugavati tries many alternative arrangements, but to no avail. Lord Mahabir had imposed upon himself improbable stipulations, or abhigraha, before accepting alms. He had vowed that he would accept food only from a princess, who has been fasting for 3 days, who has black lentils to offer, her feet chained, tears in her eyes, 1 foot outside the doorway and 1 inside. 6 months have passed, but this abhigraha has yet to be fulfilled. Upon returning home, merchant Dadhivahan finds the house locked and starts enquiring. An old maid gave him an account of all that had happened. He immediately broke open the lock. When he found Chandanbala, he was shocked to see her state. He found some black lentils in a winnowing pan for Chandanbala to eat, while he went to call an ironmonger to break the chains. At that moment, Lord Mahavir arrived there. Chandanbala was delighted to see the Lord. He noticed that all the conditions of his abhigraha were fulfilled, and so he stretched out his hand to take the offering, but he saw that her face was brimming with joy. There were no tears in her eyes, so he withdrew his hands and turned away. Seeing this, Chandanbala started crying. Now, Chandanbala had tears in her eyes as well, and Lord Mahavir turned back. He willingly took the offering and broke his fast. The celestial beings rang the dudumbi to celebrate the end of this fast. There was music and shower of gold coins from the heavens. Chandanbala's chains broke, and her ornaments reappeared. Hearing all this, even Mistress Mula rushed back, and sought forgiveness from Chandanbala. Chandanbala replied with humility, "Mother, you have been instrumental in the unfolding of this whole event." Chandanbala got initiated into monkhood by Lord Mahavir. She became the first sadhvi, or nun, and attained moksha in the same lifetime.
Jai Sachidanand.